This clip is going to present an overview of Google Calendar and how it might be used in a Gaelic Games administration context. So I'm logged in here to my email. As you can see in the top left hand side above the GAA logo, I'm on Mail. To use Calendar, just click on Calendar directly above the logo, and that'll take you to the Google Calendar page, where by default, if you can see here on the left hand side under the month of January, the calendar, you can see my calendar is noeltierney.itc.ga.ie, and that's the default, what I call my parent calendar, that can sort of contain all my sub calendars. So think of your calendar as being like a big diary, I suppose. And then underneath that, you can create little individual diaries that relate to your working relationship with various parties you might deal with. So in my case in Westmeath, I deal with maybe IT officers. So I have a calendar that will give them access to whatever meetings and other events that I have planned that relate to them. But I also deal with other people in Westmeath, such as, we'll say, the club registrars, club secretaries. So if I want to work with my club secretaries, what I can do is create a calendar that'll deal with the matters and the events that concern themselves and myself. So I'll just call it Club West WH Club Secretaries. And below it, you can put in a description. Now I'm just going to copy the description just for the for the purpose of doing that. And again, you might put in Westmeath and as the location. And the reason you might put in location in a calendar is that if there are other people and other calendars that are also, we'll say, based in Westmeath, when this people search, they can search for by location, and that'll give you access to whatever events or things are going on in that area if you share them. So the other information isn't too important. I suppose the most important bit that's left here in this first page is who you share it with. Okay, you could make the calendar public. Okay, you could share it with everyone in the GAA, but not necessarily everyone in the GAA needs to know what I'm doing, or might be interested in know what I'm doing. So the last bit down here is, it says here you can share the calendar with specific people, and that's an important kind of feature of a calendar. And later on, we'll distinguish between sharing and inviting. Okay, sharing means that when you share the calendar, the other people can actually see the full calendar. They can see what you're doing on the various days and weeks and whatever. Whereas if you invite people, to a specific event on that calendar. So there's a difference there. It's kind of subtle initially, but it's important in the long run. So sharing and inviting are two different aspects of Google Calendar, which hopefully I'll come back to later in this clip if at all possible. So then you can create the calendar by hitting the create button up at the top, and there's another create button here down the bottom. So I'll just go for create. I won't bother sharing just yet. I'll come back again if I need to share. So that's going to create the calendar. So what you'll see here appearing under my calendars is Westmeath Club Secretaries. And if I want to just quickly repeat the same steps again for club registrars, into calendar, give it a name. So this time it's Westmeath Club Registrars. And the same description I'll use. Again, I could give it more long-winded. Location, Westmeath. Say the county PRO, if he had a calendar as well, and there was the chairman or treasurer of the county board, if they all label it as Westmeath, when we're searching for calendars, if we're sharing them, it makes it easier to find things. So again, I'm not going to share it with anybody in the wider world, or with everyone in the GAA, or even with individuals. But I'll come back to that later on, as I said. That's that second calendar being created, and again, it'll appear here under Noel Tierney, under my calendars. So what happens next? So think of those, as said, as being like individual diaries. Okay, so I have 3 diaries here that relate to 3 separate groups of people: IT officers, club secretaries, and registrars. So what I can do now here on my calendar, okay, my big calendars, I can create, I can enter in events, and when I enter an event, I can then associate it with whatever group that I need to associate it with at the time of creation. So we'll say that we're on the membership system and we're working on doing training. So I'm going to, in a moment, create an event. So we'll say the event is going to be on the starting the 24th of January. So I can go up here under the GAA logo. There's a number of ways of doing this. I'll hit the option here, create event under the GAA logo. Okay, that'll give me the details. So I fill in things like membership, system training. And the questions I'm going to be asking in a moment are dealing with is how often this training takes place. Does it take place just once, a one-off thing, or is it something I plan to repeat over maybe every month or every week or whatever? So they're the kind of questions to dwell on. So it's down here, it defaults to today, but I can say no. The training here is going to be on the 24th of January. The first training session will be 24th of January. It'll be at in the evening time. It'll be at 7 p.m. Okay, sorry, I missed my 7 p.m. There it is, and it'll be until 9 o'clock, 2900 or 2100 hours. Now, the issue here that to be careful with is to put in the end is to put in or not to put in the end date. So ignore the end date for the moment. This is something that we plan to repeat. I will say every week for sake of argument. Okay, just so you can see it in the calendar. It's the repeat button you hit rather than worrying about the date. So when you hit repeat, a new window opens up, offers you choices like weekly, daily, monthly, whatever. So we'll go for a weekly here, the default. Repeat every week, and we'll do it on a Monday. The default's here to suggest a Monday. You could have it Monday and a Tuesday if you wanted. You know, if you want the training on both nights, you can tick 2 boxes. And then when does it end? So it may never end if it's an ongoing thing. After so many occurrences, okay, we might say we're going to have, we'll say 6 of those or 7 of those training sessions. Okay, and what it says here, summary, weekly on Monday, and it suggests 35 times. Now, why does it say 35 times? 7 occurrences. We will wait and see what happens on the next screen. 7 times, sorry, yes, that makes more sense. Okay, so it's going to go weekly on a Monday 7 times. That's what I was hoping for. And the really important box to tick next is what calendar does this relate to? So if you put it on the Noel Tierney calendar, everyone is going to see it. If you just put it on a specific calendar, only that group of people that are relevant to it will see it. So for membership training relates to club registrars. So we'll hit the club registrars, and that means that they will be the party that will be involved. Now, I mentioned on the previous screen the idea of adding guests. Okay, so this is where I want to clear up and distinguish between what adding guests means and what sharing a calendar means. So in both cases you enter email addresses, and if you put an email address in here, it'll mean the person will be invited to a particular event but won't know about the other occurrences of the event. Whereas if you share a calendar, the people will see all the seven nights that are involved. And then for reminders here are about reminders to myself. Okay, so if I, being the organizer of the event, want to get messages to and emails and messages to tell me that the event is on, I can get signals, we'll say maybe a week before the event is due to happen. Okay, so I can say 1 week. Okay, and then I might say, okay, that's an SMS 1 week beforehand. I might want an SMS 1 day beforehand. And I also might want an SMS, we'll say, a couple of hours beforehand. Okay, just in case I completely forget. And if that isn't enough for you, then you can go on and add more reminders. You can add an email reminder, we'll say, a day beforehand. And again, you can go the same route and put them in for hours and minutes, etc. So that's the calendar set up. Now that doesn't make that means that it's just being set up. It doesn't mean that other people are going to see it. So the seeing phase is where you're sharing. Okay, so I'm going to save the calendar here, or save the event rather. What you'll see here is that this membership training hopefully is going to appear here, and it's going to be on a weekly basis for the next 7 weeks. So as you can see, the there it is, and it's the first one is on whatever date it is there in 24th of January, and then on a weekly basis from then on. Okay, so that's how it works. If I want to go on and look at what's planned for February, I can scan ahead, and you'll see that it runs in February for so many weeks. Then we go to March, it stops. So after the 7th run of it, it stops. And that does the calendar for the membership training, system training. That's for registrars. If I want to do add an event for club secretaries, I can do it up here where I click. I'm just going to click just below the GAA logo. The full screen isn't visible at the minute. So I'm here creating another event just below the GAA logo. And I can create another event, and I'll call it Google Apps Training. And again, when do I want this on? Do I want it on? I'll go for sometime I'll go back to February, and I'll do it, we'll say, on the 2nd of February, on a Wednesday, 2nd of February. And then this time, what I'm going to do, I'll just leave it at 12 to 1. I'll leave the time as it is there, just to save me time on the screen. When I want to repeat it, okay, I can repeat it weekly, I can repeat it monthly. We'll say I'll go for monthly in this occasion, on a certain day of the month or a certain day of the week. So I'll want, we'll say, I think I picked a Wednesday there, so I wanted a Wednesday all the time, and I can get it to finish on a certain time of the year, a certain date. So here, that's the 1st of February. So if I want to scroll forward and do this, and I want to finish it in, we'll say May. I said Wednesday, so I'll say Wednesday the 7th of May. Okay, so you can, when you're setting up a calendar, the idea here I'm trying to get across is that you can plan things for weeks, for months. You can plan them to happen every 3 weeks, every 6 weeks, every whatever. This one relates to club registrars, so that's all I'm going to change here. I think that I need to change. I'm not going to invite anyone to see the calendar yet, or sorry, see the event yet. Okay, I'm not going to invite, I'm not going to share, I'm just going to save. So when I save the event down here in the bottom left hand corner, it will be appearing in my calendar in a moment. So that's Google Apps Training there, appearing in March. Okay, so it's on the 2nd of March. If I scroll forward to April, it should appear there as well on the 6th of March, or 6th of April rather. And if I go back to February and January, you'll see that there's the membership training, and over here is the calendar, Google Apps Training. Now what's happening here on the screen at the moment that's also important is that I can just display whatever calendars or subsets of my overall calendar I want. So I can turn off Westmeath Club Registrars by just clicking on it, and you see white background, it's not visible anymore. Likewise, I can make the secretaries invisible. Okay, and then I'll also make the IT officer stuff invisible. So you can see all the events have vanished from my screen. So I'll make them all visible again, and there they're all visible. So that's how to set up a calendar and add events to it. So here I have 3 calendars, one for officers, one for registrars, one for secretaries, and that's because those 3 groups are 3 independent groups, and they aren't necessarily interested in what the other is doing. And in later clips, I'll illustrate how to share a calendar, how to move events around the place, how to invite. Okay, so sharing and inviting people to calendars and events are 2 important components that will be dealt with in later clips. So that's the end of this clip.